Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about the Witchcraft and Pagan book releases for February 2025. So I will kick off this video by addressing the giant elephant in the room, which is my fringe. Bangs, I'm not really sure what you want to call them. I went to the hairdressers and was like, I'm going to be brave, I'm going to get curtain bangs. And then I left the hairdressers with the dawning realisation that I'm not a hair person and I actually have no idea what to do with them. So if you have any advice on how to make this look better, I would greatly appreciate it, because I have no idea what I'm doing with them and they keep poking me in the eye. So yes, any advice would be greatly appreciated. So we're gonna have to excuse this for the next 40 minutes while we talk about some witchcraft books, which I'm so excited about. So I ended up not organising this as neatly as I maybe usually do, so this might be a little bit jumbled, we might be jumping around a little bit, but hopefully it's all gonna make sense. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Up first, on the 1st of February, is one by Pagan Portals. This is Modron meeting the Celtic Mother Goddess. Now, this has already been released in the UK. It is coming out for the USA on the 1st of February. In the flow of healing waters and the urgent cry of the earth, we hear the voice of the Celtic mother goddess Modron, also known as Matrona, a goddess of fertility, abundance, and healing, but also of grief and loss and ancestral wisdom. She is still present, although hidden in today's world. We find her myths in the tales of the Mabinogi, the Welsh triads and modern tales of Avalon, and her image and veneration in the ancient religions of Celtic Gaul, where she first emerged as a river goddess. We can trace echoes of her in ancient Indo-European texts, and possibly even further back to the agricultural myths of the Neolithic. She is even present in the stars. Modron, meeting the Celtic Mother Goddess, takes a deep dive into this often overlooked goddess who has inspired our modern myths, combining solid academic research with suggestions for personal practice and ritual from a modern-day scholar of goddess veneration. Modron is emerging from the depths. Will you answer her call? And this one just looks so good. My to be read pile, as you can see, is ever growing. So at the minute, I'm putting things on my to purchase pile, which is basically a mental list of hundreds of books I have yet to purchase. And this one is definitely going on that pile. If you have already read this book, or any of the books in this video though, because they do release at different times around the world, let us all know. Also, different editions come out at different times too, so you might find that some of these books are republished, and if you've already read the original, let us know your honest thoughts about it. Next up, we have Storytelling for Magic, Bardic Skills and Ritual Craft for Witches and Pagans. Now, this is another that's already been published elsewhere. It's coming out in the US on the 1st of February. In your hands are the keys to bringing the gifts of the ancient magic weavers, the storytellers, into your life. The bards of old wove magic with their words. Through myth and legend, history and inspiration, they shaped the world around them. Just like them, you can connect with the magic of storytelling to create powerful change. Join professional performer, ritualist, bard and witch Halo Quinn and discover how to use your voice in magic, how to unravel the secrets of stories, how to craft your own rituals to bring the power of myths and folktales into your life, and how to find, learn and tell stories to enchant the world inside and outside the circle. On the 3rd of February for the USA only, we have The Healing Craft. The Healing Craft presents an introduction to a broad spectrum of healing arts of special interest to witches and pagans. It includes the history of healing, a wide range of traditional and non-traditional healing methods, divination as a healing art, past life regression, the mind, physical and spiritual body, as well as codes of practice and ethics. It is an essential primer for anyone interested in the relationship between witchcraft, paganism, and the healing arts. So this is one that would very much accompany people who want to make that crossover between the two. It's also by Janet and Stuart Farrar, I want to say Farrar, but I might be wrong there, who are very, very prolific authors within the witchcraft community. Also on the 3rd of February, we have A Witch Alone, 13 Moons to Master Natural Magic. You don't have to belong to a coven to practice magic. You can connect to the rich and ancient heritage of the solitary witch. With only yourself to rely on, magic becomes an introspective act. Commune with nature on your own and form a deeper, stronger connection with the stars, the sun, and the moon. Learn to heal yourself, gain peace from stress, and find new ways to cope with the turmoil of modern life. talk to trees and heal with herbs, learn how to follow patterns of the stars and the cycles of the sun and the moon to see into your future. So that one looks interesting for anyone who is very interested in solitary craft. As mentioned though, that's only available in the US with future release dates to come. We then have another that I spoke about in last month's video. I won't go too much into this one though. This is the Pocket Love Spells, Modern Magic to Bring Love into Your Life. It's already released elsewhere and it's releasing on the 4th of February in the USA only. I suspect the next one is going to be like Marmite for a lot of people. You're either going to be super duper interested and this is going to be your favourite book on this entire list, or it's not going to even get a look in. This is another by Frata Barbarus. It's coming out in the US on the 4th of February with future dates to come, and it's called Abramelin Lunar Ordeal, an alternative magical journey. Abramelin Lunar Ordeal merges the traditional Abramelin sacred magic with the singular Bornless One invocation to produce an ordeal that can be accomplished in 7 weeks instead of 6 or 18 months. This unique and advanced magical grimoire offers personal transformation for the adherent, a new method for a timeless ordeal. MacGregor Mathers published a book that introduced the magical ordeal to the magicians of the 20th century. The book was called The Book of Abramelin and contained an arduous preparation practice that lasted 6 months to manifest the holy guardian angel, which instructed and guided the adherent. The book contained many magical squares of notorious potency. To use them, the magician had to undergo many months of prayer, meditation, fasting, purification, abasement, and a period of complete sequestrian. Another version of this working, recently published, had the working last for 18 months, with 3 months of sequestration. I've never read that word out loud before, and I hope I never have to ever again. Many magicians attempted this arduous task. Some succeeded and some failed. This working was typically beyond the means and resources of your average magician. This was the challenge to achieve the knowledge and conversation with their holy guardian angel. However, Frata Barbarus took this challenge and used it to forge a whole new magical ordeal. He decided to base it on a lunar cycle instead of a solar cycle, crafting an ordeal that could be accomplished in 7 weeks with 3 days of sequestration, there's that word again, thus making its performance more practical. Frata Barbarus sought to create a powerful series of magical workings to produce the promised transfiguration state and manifest one's holy guardian angel. He used invocations of the 4 seraphim and cherubim in 4 weeks, along with the element Godhead, to produce a holy tabernacle, neither of those sound right, of Godhead and angelic intelligence. He chose a revised version of the Bornless or Headless One invocation rite of Golden Dawn fame as the apex. He plumbed the Greek magical papyri to extract 3 more rituals to add to the Bornless rite. These rituals and more he has written into a book, including the diary entries where he performed this working back in 2009 to validate it. This lore and instruction are encapsulated in Abramelin Lunar Order, a unique and profound contribution to the art of ritual magic. It's now available using a new, concise paradigm. Can you see what I mean when I said it's a lot of words? And it's definitely going to be one of those where some of you will immediately be like, oh my goodness, yes, please give it to me right now. I need all of this information. And some of you are going to be like, ritual magic? Not for me. I think this one looks interesting. It's not something that I would necessarily work with myself, but it is a book where if someone were to give it to me and be like, I think you'd find this interesting, I'd give it a read and I'd be like, you're right, I did find this interesting. We then have the Wiccan Handbook, a modern guide to the symbols, spells, and rituals of witchcraft. This is coming out on the 4th of February in the USA only. A practical guide to discovering the ancient wisdom of Wicca and witchcraft for a deeper connection to our inner selves and the natural world. Hidden within us all is a special set of powers. Learning the tools of Wicca and witchcraft unlocks those powers and opens the door onto a new world. This essential handbook is filled with everything you need to know in order to live in harmony with yourself and the natural world. It features detailed information on the most important elements of a modern-day Wiccan way of life, including how to celebrate all of the Sabbats in the year, casting a sacred circle, writing and casting spells, essential everyday tools, and interpreting and understanding the 4 elements and their correspondences. You will also find advice on using the healing properties of herbs, trees, colours, crystals, numbers, and astrological energies to empower and enhance your work. The Wiccan Handbook is an indispensable guide to embracing Wicca and witchcraft in our modern world, bringing more magic, meaning, and significance to your everyday life. And there's even a contents list here, so it includes the story of witchcraft, including the early times and modern witchcraft, getting started, including the tools of the trade, and practicing witchcraft, including magical charms and symbols, the witch's calendar, creating a sacred circle, the witch's way to draw in love, creating abundance, and creating miracles. So I think this is going to be one of those where if you've already got half a dozen beginner witchcraft books, you're probably not going to need another one. I'm just going to throw this out there though, would anyone be interested in me compiling a list of recommended books for beginner Wiccans? Because I know that a lot of people tend to start with Wicca. If that's of interest to you, let me know and I can go through the books I have in my own collection, the ones that I used myself, and see which ones I'd recommend and which ones I wouldn't. I don't know how good this one is going to be, obviously, it's not come out yet, but if you do decide to read it, let me know what you think. We then have one that I'm so excited about. This is The Devil's Ointment, The History of Unguents in European Magic and Witchcraft by Corinne Boyer. Many of you will know that I really enjoy Corinne's work, and I have the majority of works that they've published. This is coming out on the 4th of February in the USA with future release dates to come. In the historical records of European witchcraft, one of the most notorious allegations against the accused was the use of a magical salve to gain the power of nocturnal flight. Rubbed on the body, it was said to be a compound of toxic herbs, animals, and noxious constituents, such as human fat, and could affect travel by the witch over great distances. According to legend, the ointment, or the instructions for its manufacture, were given to the witch directly by the devil himself in the midst of their frenzied sabbats. Despite the persistence of these features of the witch's ointment in lore, actual recipes of it were rare and often speculative. Initially, the obsession of clerical and legal authorities, then the writers on natural magic, the ointment continued to perplex researchers well into the Age of Enlightenment. In more recent times, it has become the fascination of pharmacological speculation, psychology, ethnogenic theory, and occult experiment. Despite the curiosity it has generated over the centuries, the mystery of the witch's ointment abides. Bringing a much-needed approach of plant lore and folk magic to the subject, the Witch's Ointment examines the witch's salve against the broader historical use of magical unguents and greases, considering supernatural contexts in addition to witchcraft. This is complemented by the additional investigational view of folk medicine, which made therapeutic use of many of the toxic plants ascribed to the ointment. Rationales for use, source materials, and symbolical ingredient of the European pharmacopoeia are also examined, revealing the witch's ointment as but one small part of the essential and timeless accoutrement of European occult practices. 1000%, this is going on my to-be purchase pile. This looks incredible. I really enjoy Corinne's work, so yeah, this one's going to be hard to beat this month. And if you enjoy the style of witchcraft that I practice and that I talk about a lot, you will probably really enjoy the works of Corinne Boyer. Just generally, they're really good. We then have the Wiccan Almanac, A Year of Magic and Tradition. This is coming out on February 4th in the USA. It has already been released elsewhere. It celebrates nature's changing energy through the seasons by celebrating 8 key festival dates and the main lunar phases over 12 months. By aligning with the magic of this never-ending cycle of seasonal change, whether the ebb and flow of the moon, the equinoxes, solstices, and mid-season celebrations, you will not only feel balanced, nurtured, and self-empowered, but discover a more authentic and natural way of living every day. So that one is I don't want to say generic Wiccan almanac, but I'm going to say generic Wiccan almanac. Just know that I'm not being derogatory when I say that. It's just that Wiccan almanacs and how you relate to the seasons and the Sabbats is pretty commonplace. If you already have one in your collection, you may not need it again. If you don't and you're interested, this could be one to look into. We then have A Year and a Day of Everyday Magic, Witchify Your Life with a Daily Dose of Magic. This has already been released in America. It's coming out on the 8th of February for the UK only. Invite more magic into your life with this engaging follow-up to A Year and a Day of Everyday Witchcraft. Deborah Blake, who is a very prolific author in witchcraft, guides you through 366 quick activities that you can follow chronologically or dip into as time allows, including spells, rituals, meditations, crafts, recipes, journal prompts, and more. You can design a labyrinth, carve intention into candles, build an ancestor altar, make a besom, grow a moon garden, fold paper aeroplane magic, wish with bubbles, chant to the goddess, and and more. In addition to daily inspirations, A Year and a Day of Everyday Magic offers suggested activities for full moons, holidays, and other special occasions. With this book, you can explore your magic and expand your practice even during the busiest of times. Now, interestingly, there is a series. Is this actually by Llewellyn? No, it just looks kind of like it. Interestingly, there are another series of books that I think could be interesting if you do like this kind of topic. These are called Llewellyn's Witches Spell a Day Almanacs. Now, this is the 2023 one. I really enjoyed this. Inside every single day, there are these pages where they include spells and rituals. So, for instance, on the day that I'm filming this, now obviously this is outdated because it's now 2025. If I look at February 1st, this then says that this is a creativity Imbolg spell. At sundown, we begin to celebrate Imbolg, the Celtic festival in honour of Brigid. She is known as a goddess of wisdom, poetry, and inspiration, among other things. Imbolg is also a fire festival, a celebration of the return of the light. The light and fires of Imbolg represent a luminous, radiant hope after experiencing harsh, cold winter days. Fire is the element of transformation and passion. It is a perfect time to renew and transform creativity. A simple way to celebrate Imbolc is to light a white candle to spark your creativity and celebrate the return of the light. Once your candle is lit, cup your hands around the candle at a safe distance and say, "On this Imbolc night, as my candle burns bright, help my passion and creativity reignite. Safely extinguish the candle once you're done." Those are kind of like the little things that go on throughout this entire book. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be maybe a little bit more generic, which could be really useful. The almanacs are designed to be used on the year and the day that they are written about. And not everything is going to align the same. If I were to do that same ritual today, it's going to be slightly different than if I were to do it 2 years ago, because the items are slightly different. So at the very top here, it says some astrological data, and it also says like the color of the day is topaz, the incense of the day is honeysuckle. These are based on astrological placements. And so reading this book in 2025, it's never going to be as accurate as it was in 2023. Now, I know that this is a bit of a tangent, but it's just something to bear in mind that when you're looking at almanacs, especially witchcraft almanacs, they're often heavily focused on astrological placements. And so this book that is A Year and a Day of Everyday Magic, it isn't dated, which makes me think that this one could actually be really useful for someone who likes the style of something like this, but doesn't want the restriction of having to use it in, say, 2023 or 2025. Tangent, but I hope that's useful in kind of making a decision as to what you feel comfortable getting. I do enjoy almanacs. I don't get them every single year for that exact reason, so this one could be a better fit. Okay, I'm going to put that down there again. Up next, we have Slow Magic, Cultivate Lasting Transformation Through Spell Work and Self-Growth. This is coming out on the 8th of February for the USA only, with future dates to come. You have the power and the magical prowess to create sustainable, positive change in your life. Long-term magic can make it happen. Meaningful experiences don't come without commitment. You need slow magic for profound and enduring work. Featuring dozens of hands-on exercises and theoretical discussions of magic, this book supports you in making big changes without getting burned out. Anthony Rella motivates you to persevere over days, months, and years. He provides many exercises and techniques that help you engage with your long-term goals regardless of what is happening in your everyday life. He also helps you evaluate today's magical outcomes so you can make later workings better. This book is a valuable tool for building relationships with spiritual allies, deepening your dedication, and nurturing lifelong happiness. This one is up there for me. Like, after Corinne Boyer, this one looks incredible. I have some videos coming out in the future about kind of developing and growing your magical practice further. And I think a book like this sounds like it could be really good for exactly that, for taking what could be a very quick-paced, short-acting, beginner style of practice into something that is more a lifestyle of witchcraft that you can maintain long-term. I'm definitely adding this one to the list because I think this one could be a really good recommendation in the future. Now, obviously, I've not read it yet, so do not take my word that this is going to be incredible, but this one looks like it has the potential to be really good. We then have Wonderment, an eclectic guide to awakening your divine gifts and inherent potential. This one is coming out on the 8th of February for the USA only, with future dates to come. Uncover the elusive spark that permeates all things. Awaken your psychic senses and tap into your creativity with the help of nature, magic, and the spirit world. Using philosophy, science, and experiential learning, Wonderment encourages you to embark on a journey of profound spiritual change. Author and travel journalist Amber C. Snyder uses her personal journey as a framework to explore the link between historic concepts and spiritual experiences. Demonstrated through stories from New York City, Ireland, Hawaii, and other exciting locations, Amber helps you unlock your divine potential with tools like shadow work, smoke cleansing, color magic, and past life regression hypnosis. This book's insights on spell work, goddess worship, and other practices will rekindle your curiosity and inspire a deeply fulfilling life. Moving straight on into The Witch's Home. This is practical magic for every room. It's coming out on the 8th of February in the USA only, with future dates to come. Featuring more than 80 rituals, spells, and daily practices, this inspiring book of witchery will help you build a haven filled with love, joy, security, and enchantment. Wherever you live, The Witch's Home encourages you to see your residence as a magical space. From the windows and doors to the basement and bathrooms, explore the magical potential hidden in each room. Establish a home grimoire, work with land spirits, create meaningful handcrafts, and experiment with spiritual decluttering. Learn how to repurpose items and apply the power of colour to make your practice more affordable. You'll also discover how to use traditionally non-magical items such as takeout menus, shoes, and asphalt. With inspiration from folklore around the world, this book will help you connect with every part of your space, turning your home into a true sanctuary. This could be one that is interesting for all of my home, cottage, and hearth witches. Of course, this isn't the entirety of that practice, but it could be something to look into. For anyone who is interested in numerology, on the 11th of February in the UK only, we have the Beginner's Guide to Numerology. Harness the energy of numbers to discover your personal power and manifest your best life. Now, I'll have to check if this has already been released elsewhere or if it's coming out in the coming months. Tune into the unique energy vibrations of numbers to decode your true purpose and enhance every aspect of your life. Do you have a lucky number? Ever wondered why you're instinctively drawn to some numbers more than others? This fascinating insight into the world of numerology explains why and how to make those numbers work for you. And learn how numbers can help you attract positive energy and abundance into any area of your life, and how to manifest the best version of yourself. From getting that prize job promotion to seeking out a soulmate. Identify your power number to decipher the traits and talents that will help you navigate the highs and lows in life. Together with your life path number and your destiny number, this sacred combination provides everything you need to grow, attain your goals, and fulfill your destiny. Through practical exercises, meditations, activities, rituals, and much more, you can work with your numbers to create, shape, and heal your world. So that one's really interesting for some, probably not going to be for every practitioner depending on what it is you choose to work with, but definitely an option for people looking into numerology. On the 11th of February in the USA only, as always, I'll have to check when things are coming out, but I don't remember mentioning this one before, which makes me think that other releases are going to come later. This is Healing the Liminal, Lessons and Parallels for Finding Your Way. Your story is yours to write, bearing the legacy of your lineage and diverse incarnations of your spirit. As a multiracial, autistic, intuitive artist, Marcella Kroll has spent years understanding and appreciating the freedom that comes with being born in a world in which no predetermined path existed for her. For creatives, for healers, for the neurodivergent, and for anyone else who is searching for their place, this book is a celebration of unconventional existences through history, space, and time, with parallels and lessons from Marcella's ancestors and other spirits with whom she has connected, even throughout the cosmos. Learn to understand your multidimensional, constantly changing soul through the prism of these stories, as well as through the practical advice that Marcella has acquired through decades of study. This one actually sounds like a total breath of fresh air, and when I want something really light and hopeful, so I really like the sound of that one. It's not something that I really expected to like just from looking at the cover. It didn't immediately stand out, but this is why I have to keep reminding myself, never judge a book by its cover. On February February the 12th in the USA only. I'm so excited about this one. Like, this one's definitely on my list. I will have to check whether it's already been released elsewhere or whether that's coming later, but this is The Cunning Craft, A Tortuous Path of the Wise Art. Oh, it looks so good. I mean, just the cover. Just the cover looks incredible. In The Cunning Craft, Friswold delves deep into the hidden realms of ancient wisdom, shining a light on the enigmatic connections between the craft and its opposing forces, such as the devil, the mysteries of the night, and the powerful crossroads where secrets converge. This book unveils the cunning arts in all their forms, from the revered to the feared. Here, the devil stands as pivotal as any saint, and wisdom flourishes where others dare not tread. The cunning ones, adept in magical arts and aided by denizens from beyond, serve as conduits between worlds. Their rituals and rites steeped in both peril and power, from the arcane teachings of the Picatrix to the bold insights of... names... Giordano Bruno. Okay, that wasn't so bad. I psyched myself up for that and it was fine. This book celebrates the rich tapestry of Stoic knowledge, with rituals honouring both poison and healing, and nods to ancient figures like Master Cain. The Cunning Craft invites sorcerers, witches, historians, and the curious alike to explore the depths of mystery, veiled by the celestial bodies and the shadowed figure of the devil. Oh, it looks so good. Okay, sorry. I think I just might have deafened everyone with that. That looks incredible. Genuinely might have ended up higher than Corinne Boyer. Yeah, that one looks incredible. Definitely going to go on my list. I might even break my rule of not buying any more books till I've started reading my to be read pile, because this one looks amazing. I want to say here, because I haven't mentioned it so far, that if you are not in the UK or America, I focus on these two because this is where the majority of my audience watches from. But if you are elsewhere and you want to know when a book is available in your area, if you are reading a digital copy, it will typically come out whenever the American version is released. So whatever the American release date is usually when the e-edition is available everywhere worldwide. If you're after a paperback, you can type in the name of the book, publication date, and then put in the name of your country, and it should give you an idea of when that book is going to be released where you are. It can get a little bit complicated because every single country has slightly different release dates, but hopefully this will help add a little bit more clarity. We then have one which is very much up my alley. It's not going to be for everyone, but if you love paranormal and ghosties and ghoulies just like I do, you might want to check out some of my Sunday videos where we talk about ghosts and ghoulies and all things paranormal. But self-plug aside, this one is called Paranormal Stories, Supernatural Tales and Unexplained Mysteries from Around the World. This is coming out in the UK on the 18th of February with, I believe, future dates to come. Maybe? I'm gonna have to double check that. Embark on a spine-tingling journey through the unknown with this chilling collection of supernatural tales and unexplained mysteries from around the globe, igniting your curiosity and daring you to explore the paranormal. Step into the unknown. Tales of the paranormal have seduced us and spooked us for centuries, passed around from person to person and frequently retold and reimagined in books, films, and TV. Whether they're based on real events or they're simply urban legends which have taken on a life of their own. The strange happening, unexplained events, and unsolved mysteries in this book will take you on a frightening journey to the outer limits of plausibility and dare you to believe the unbelievable. Ranging from the mysterious to the macabre, the stories in this book span a broad range of supernatural subjects including ghosts, spirits and the undead, witchcraft and occultism, extraterrestrial life, mythical creatures, and much more. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, a paranormal junkie or an interested observer, let these stories spark your imagination and capture your curiosity, and perhaps even send a shiver down your spine. This looks so good, actually. And if you enjoy stories like this, I'm not being paid to promote them in any way, shape, or form, but the new series of Uncanny by Danny Robbins has just released, as in, I believe it was yesterday? Yeah, it came out last night as I'm filming this. So if you are in the UK and you have access to the BBC, you are able to watch it with a TV licence on iPlayer. Just throwing that out there for anyone who's curious and missed the memo about that. Ghost stories are always a win for me. On the 18th of February, we have A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work. This one is another one that looks absolutely blooming incredible. I might purchase it before I read any of my books. This is coming out for the USA only at this point. It's going to be released in other locations at a later point. A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work provides an extensive collection of spells, rituals, and other magical workings designed to show you how to connect with your fetch. The Witch's Fetch is an etheric spirit helper often found to manifest in the framework of old witch lore. Despite its popularity in myth, however, very little has been written about actively working with one's fetch in magical practice. So for anyone who hasn't encountered the idea of a fetch before, it can be a little bit confusing because there are so many crossovers between an astral body, a fetch, and a familiar. But this is just my understanding on the subject, having read trial records and folk magic and the like, is a lot of the time in records it would be accounted that a witch had entered into a space that was physically impossible for them to be. So they would be entering under a door, or they'd be entering through a crack in a window, and they would manifest in someone else's dreams or within someone else's home. And it was believed that the witch had sent her fetch in order to carry out that malefic work for her. Now, a fetch is essentially a part of yourself. It is an energetic double of yourself that you are sending out to do work that you then call back on later. It's different to an astral form because your astral body is where your consciousness goes. So your consciousness in your astral body leaves your physical form to traverse the astral plane to hedge ride and the like. Whereas your fetch is separate from yourself. So you can still be doing all the things in your normal body. You don't seem any different. You don't look any different. You can still talk and work and do everything else while your fetch is doing something different. A familiar is different again because this is a spirit that is external to yourself that you are working with in an agreement. So this is a spirit that does not belong to you. And then to make it even more complicated, it's slightly different from a tulpa or a thought form because the fetch is still linked to you directly. So you can send the fetch out and you can call the fetch back again. And bringing that fetch back again and reabsorbing them doesn't then destroy or nullify that fetch. That fetch will still exist to then be sent out again at a later point. Whereas if you were to call back a servitor and then destroy that servitor so it's no longer present, you would then have to remake that servitor all over again. It gets kind of complicated though because you have a lot of crossover with different traditions using different names for similar concepts. This is why this book looks so interesting. Despite its popularity in myth, however, very little has been written about actively working with one's fetch in magical practice. A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work seeks to bridge the gap between myth and lore and authentic magical practice. Part 1 of this book explores the mythological and folkloric origins of the fetch, while Part 2 presents a new grimoire of active and intense magical practice designed to help you weave a web of magic in partnership with your fetch. This book delves into the heart of the witch's fetch, encouraging readers to explore their relationship with their fetch to reveal the potent magic that resides therein. Through a blend of history, folklore, and personal narrative, A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work reveals the art of forging an intimate and fulfilling bond with one's fetch, a relationship built on mutual respect, empowerment, and the sharing of ancient knowledge. Accessible to witches just starting on their path, but serious enough to cater to the more seasoned practitioner, A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work will prove to be a fantastic and engaging resource. Yes, definitely. Add to cart. I will be getting that when it comes out. On February 18th in the USA only, we have The Witch of the Forest's Guide to Folklore Magic. Connect to the wisdom of our elders, embrace the power of green magic. This enchanting guide connects you to the wisdom of witches past to expand and enrich your witchcraft practice. The myths, legends, and superstitions of the past offer a window into how common people made sense of their world. Because they were excluded from the halls of academia and the seats of power, they had no choice but to get on with day-to-day life, healing, birthing, and persisting as best they could. Often it would be the village medicine women who held the handed-down knowledge of those who had gone before, and generation by generation they would build on this to develop a profound understanding of the healing and magical properties of nature. It is from this deep well of folkloric knowledge that modern-day witch Lindsay Squire draws this inclusive and accessible beginner's guide. Add enchantments to your life by learning what folklore is and how it connects to the practice of witchcraft, the magical legends and superstitions attached to plants and trees, the folk magic, charms and spells associated with herbs, both beneficial and baneful, how to use plants in your own witchcraft practice, and the folklore of different historical witches and natural healers from around the world. Yes, this one also looks really, really good. We'll definitely be adding this to the pile. This is what I meant at the very start when I said that this month there's a lot of really, really interesting book releases. Oh, okay, interesting. So I've put Folklore Magic in twice because I didn't realise that it came out at 2 different times. So it's coming out on February 18th in the USA, and then it's coming out on February 20th in the UK. Why 2 days apart? But I don't really know, but that's what we're working with. Okay. We then have one that I believe I spoke about last month. I vividly remember this book and I have no idea why. This is Defying Shadows for Witches and Pagans Battling Cancer and Chronic Illness. And I thought this one was really important to talk about because so many people do struggle with this. This is coming out on the 21st of February in the USA. I'll have to check when it's coming out elsewhere. Defying Shadows is a self-help book for pagan cancer patients living through surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and medicated survivorship. This book offers practical support and magical advice from a pagan viewpoint to help those with cancer and other chronic conditions. In October 2019, Jess Settergren received some life-altering news. She had breast cancer. Despite living in a world where breast cancer awareness is highly visible and offers a great deal of support, she found herself uniquely alone, as none of the options for patients and survivors featured a pagan perspective. With Defying Shadows, she fills the gap for pagan and witch-friendly cancer support. Within its pages, you will find gentle, easy ways to perform spells, meditations for wellness, and low-energy rituals for every Sabbath. Find your peace and embrace the now with Defying Shadows. And I think that that is just such an important work that needed to be written. The fact that that isn't already present in the world is actually a little alarming, that this isn't an option for people. And so I think this is a really, really significant work. We then have one that I know I definitely spoke about last month, and I loved it. It's finally coming out in the UK. This is Brownies and Bogles, a compendium of enchanting fairy lore. It's coming out on the 25th of February in the UK. It's already been released in America. Over 100 years since its original publication, Brownies and Bogles by Louise Imogen Guiney is now republished as a wonderful, easy-to-follow guidebook to the Fae. American essayist and poet Louise Imogen Guiney put together a fantastic, poetic book dedicated to the happenings of the fair folk. Now republished for a modern audience, Brownies and Bogles is the timeless treasure you didn't realise was missing from your library. Contained within are stories and anecdotes regarding the lives of the little people, offering insights into the interests and hobbies of those unseen. Written in language that will resonate with today's readers, Brownies and Bogles is an entertaining and informative book sure to please the witch who works with fairies. Yes! Add to cart. There's so many this time that just look so good. Next Door's Dog is going absolutely bananas right now. We then have a book that could be really, really fascinating to some and really not interesting to others. I'll be honest, I've read the blurb of this and it contains a whole lot of words I know I can't pronounce. So what I will do is I will leave a link to this book in the description box so that if you are interested in it, you can check it out for yourself, because trust me, I've just spent the last 15 minutes butchering the information on this book and I've officially hung up my hat and said, you know what? I can't say half of these words. I can't pronounce them. This is Alchemical Hermeticism, The Secret Teachings of Marco Daffy on Initiation. This is coming out in the UK on the 27th of February with future release dates to come. And it's probably going to be one that's going to divide the community a little bit. Some people are going to be really, really fascinated by it. Other people are going to say, you know what, that's not for me. And that's okay too. We then have Intention Obsession, Rituals and Witchcraft for Every Season. This has already been released in America. It's coming out on the 27th of February in the UK. Conjure an intention-filled life with this practical guidebook of magical rituals for every season of the Zodiac, from Erica Feldman, owner and founder of the Salem-based store House Witch. Let's face it, we could all use a bit more magic in our lives, even if you're not ready to commit to a black velvet cloak or join a coven. Yet. Intention Obsession is a book for all types of seekers, sharing practical magic and self-care rituals for any kind of lifestyle. Think of the magic in this book as an antidote to our world of restlessness, productivity obsession, and estrangement. Organised by the seasons of the zodiac, from Aries to Pisces, this guide will showcase the archetypal powers of each season and teach you how to create and design a ritual regimen you can honour, all year long. So we did speak about that one last time. It does look interesting. I don't necessarily think it's going to be applicable for everyone though, if you do already have kind of a system in place that you like to use. Now, annoyingly for me, I've actually put this book in twice. So Healing the Liminal, which we spoke about earlier, is also releasing in the UK in February, just later in February. It's releasing on the 27th of February. We then have another I spoke about last month. This is At the Borders of the Wondrous and Magical, Nature Spirits, Shapeshifters and the Undead in the Never-Ending Middle Ages. This is now coming out on the 27th of February in the UK, and if you were there for my last live stream where I mentioned really wanting to learn more about magical practice and tradition in the Middle Ages, this book is definitely right up my alley. I'm going to end up getting it at some point. It does look really interesting. This book explores how the haunted, magical world of medieval times still surrounds us, examines the historic side of texts and tales from the Middle Ages, including the enduring presence of haunted areas and power places, and the roles of witches, house spirits, rune priests, shapeshifters, and the undead, discusses the dividing line between magic and deviltry, as well as the significance of grimoires, bells, blacksmiths, storm callers, and more. Serves as a guide to a still-present magical and imagined realm, pointing readers to the borderlands and liminal thresholds that enable access to the other world. Now, there is a much, much bigger blurb, but because I have already spoken about it, that's as far as I'm going to go today. It looks so good. If you like more academic-heavy writing, this one is going to be right up your alley. We then have Crystals for Psychic Self-Defense, 145 gemstones for banishing, binding, and magical protection. We did speak about this last month. It's already released in America. It's coming out on the 27th of February in the UK. It presents magical techniques with crystals for warding off harmful energies, binding, and curse breaking, including crystal grids, amulets, spells, and rituals. Explains how to discern the symptoms of psychic attack, and offers multiple methods for cleansing your energy field and your crystals, including an in-depth directory of 145 of the most powerful and effective crystals and gemstones for protection, banishing, and recovering from psychic attack. Super interesting if you do enjoy magical practice with a heavy, heavy focus on crystal magic. And then we have another one that does look really interesting. This is another by Patricia Telesco, so this is a republication. If you already have the original work, you probably don't need this one too. This is called A Witch's Book of Ceremonies and Rituals. It's coming out on February 28th in the USA only, with future dates to come. From the mind of Patricia Telesco comes A Witch's Book of Ceremonies and Rituals, a phenomenal collection of workings that you can perform to celebrate the Wheel of the Year, as well as bring powerful change to your life. Create rituals for all sorts of occasions, birthdays, separations, forgiveness, employment, and more. Learn the history of traditional pagan holidays and the fascinating lore behind them, and mark monumental moments with special ceremonies like hand fasting. A great book for beginners and experienced practitioners alike. A Witch's Book of Ceremonies and Rituals is a timeless go-to for any situation, and it was previously published in 1999. Now, bear that in mind. A lot of books from the late 90s are heavily focused on Wicca, but I like the idea of this one because it covers more than just the Sabbats. And that is the list of all the books I could find that are coming out in February. And there's probably more. I probably missed some, but those are the ones that I thought were the most curious. Now, there's some that I definitely like the look of more than others. So, At the Borders of Wondrous and Magical looks really, really good. These are just the ones that I would get personally myself. Brownies and Bogles, a compendium of enchanting fairy lore, that's another one. Ooh, The Folklore Witch, as well as A Witch's Guide to Fetch Work. Ooh, there's so many. What else have we got here? Oh, The Cunning Craft, a tortuous path of the wise art. Definitely. Oh no. I cause problems for myself because I already have a massive to-be-read pile. Slow Magic, Cultivate Lasting Transformation Through Spellwork and Self-Growth. Oh no, as well as The Devil's Ointment by Corinne Boyer. Let me know what your favourites were this month, which ones you're thinking of getting, which ones you already have. What are you currently reading? I'd love to know that too. I hope that you did enjoy this video. I know that these can be a little bit long-winded. I'm not sure whether to continue doing them on the main channel or whether it would be better if I posted them more on the Patreon. I'm not really sure whether people are still interested in getting these every single month, but I know that if I didn't do them every single month, then they would start racking up the number of books and then they'd be like 2-3 hours long, which I just don't think is doable for me or for you or for my editing software that might just kill my laptop. So let me know whether you'd like me to keep doing these. Are you still interested in them? I know that some of you are dedicated to the book videos and some of you are just not that fussed, so let me know that too, please, nicely. I'm fragile. I'm a little Cancer sun, okay? I'm fragile. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. It means a lot to me and it helps to support the channel. Honestly, just you watching the video supports the channel, but liking and commenting massively helps as well. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. And if you do enjoy the magical content on this channel or in this video, feel free to hit subscribe. I try to post magical content every single week. Did I nearly forget the outro to my own video? Yes. I think I need to go and stare at something other than a camera and bright lights. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you who watches my content, like genuinely from the bottom of my heart, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye. I can do it now. My voice is back. Mostly, there were a few moments in that where my voice broke and it was kind of embarrassing, but I'm hoping that I can just edit that out. Okay.